I don't know if you guys noticed, but I drop clues here and there in my videos. Yesterday I did a video on 20 romantic rose and chocolate fragrances. I featured this fragrance from Akro called Dark, and I mentioned in that video, are you guys interested in a full house overview video? Many of you said you are interested, so well, today I've got one for you, a whole house overview on this house Akro, and I've got 2 discovery kits to give away thanks to the folks at Akro Fragrances, and I'm sending these out, so this is only a USA giveaway. I've got 2 of these, and then of course if you are not in the USA and you have someone here that can accept your giveaway prize, you can actually participate in the giveaway as well. And then I do have a discount code. It's called Perfume Guy 5, and I have a link in the info box. If you wanted to buy a discovery kit and don't want to participate, you can definitely do that and save $5 off the discovery kit. Anyway, if you want to find out all about Akro Fragrances, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. How many of you know this house, Akro Fragrances? How many of you know Olivier Cresp, who is the perfumer of all of these fragrances? And if you are familiar, which one do you own if you already own any? And also, if you've been following me, I have actually done a review of one of the fragrances here on the list. And the fragrances are all inspired by addictions. So there's an addiction to cigarette smoking, there's an addiction to coffee drinking, there's an addiction to dark chocolate, there's an addiction to sex, there's an addiction to marijuana, and then finally there's an addiction to whiskey, like booze. So those are the different fragrances. And you know what I'm doing with this video is I'm ranking them. But Akro is now fully available here in the States. They're sold on Akro's website, which I have a link to in the info box. But I actually had bought 4 of the fragrances on my own from 2 different stores, and I actually ended up buying a 5th one from somebody that was getting rid of their entire perfume collection. So I personally purchased 5 of them, and when Akro sent me an email asking me if I'm interested in helping them launch the brand, I said I already own 5 of the fragrance I bought myself. Why don't you send me the last one, and I can do a video with the ones I have and the one the one I'm missing, and then let you guys know all about the brand. So they also sent me the discovery kits, as I said, and those are going to be for the giveaway at the end of the video. But before I get to the fragrances, if this is your first time tuning into the channel and you still haven't subscribed, please do click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so that you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So yeah, let me know if you're a fan of this house and if you're familiar with Olivier Cresp. It was started by Olivier Cresp, the perfumer, and his daughter and his daughter's partner. So they're all part of this collection of fragrances, and so far there's only 6 fragrances, all launched in 2018. I first discovered the fragrances early 2019, where I bought 2 bottles. I bought Dark and I bought Awake at Jevoy in Paris. Later on in the year I bought 2 more bottles from Lucky Scent, one from Lucky Scent in LA, although I think I ordered one on via mail. So I bought Smoke, and then I also bought Night. I bought Night, the sex addiction one. Finally, last year I bought Haze, the marijuana cannabis one, where I featured it in my cannabis fragrances video. And then the only one that I was missing was Malt, which Akro Fragrances, or the distributor for Akro Fragrances, sent to me for this specific review. So I'm a fan of the house. In fact, here's the thing. One of the fragrances I really, really love. 2 of the fragrances I really love. 2 other fragrances I also love, and then finally one I just do not care for whatsoever. And strangely, the one I didn't buy, the one that was sent to me, is my least favorite, sadly. But a little before I get to the fragrance, I want to let you know a little bit about Olivier Cresp. He's been doing fragrances for quite some time. He's created many different fragrances that are pretty popular, like Dolce & Gabbana's Light Blue for Women, Gentleman Givenchy series he's done with Nathalie Lorson. He's created Kenzo Jungle Homme, Mugler's Angel, very, very iconic fragrance, Parfums de Marly Sedley, Dior Dune pour Homme, and many, many more. So if you are a fan of those fragrances, I think you should definitely look into this particular house to discover their fragrances. And again, these are all based on addictions, and we're going to start off with number 6. So at number 6, the first one, my least favorite, sadly, it's just one I do not care for. And recently I mentioned this in another video like 2 days ago. I don't care for marine notes. And number 6, the Malt Addiction, or the Whiskey Addiction fragrance, is a very heavy marine fragrance, and it's not my favorite. So if I love the other fragrances a lot, this one just does not work for me, unfortunately. And that's probably why I didn't buy it, but I couldn't remember it, and I hadn't really tested it out either in the stores. I probably did this and I probably moved on from it. But the thing is, it really does smell like whiskey. The fermented kind of whatever they put in to create the barley and things like that. It really does. When you open it up like this, totally does. But there's some smokiness in there, and that like leathery touches, but the marine notes are heavy, quite heavy. So this is considered a marine or leather fragrance. Notes are whiskey, rum, leather, seaweed, patchouli. But in the end, it's a woody experience, but overly marine for me. I'm very sensitive to this note, ultra sensitive. Some I can tolerate, some I can't. This one, I think the seaweed note is so heavy that it really stands out and kind of like ruins the rest of the notes for me, if that makes sense. But overall, I think some of you might enjoy something like this, something that's boozy, inspired by whiskey, but also marine and seaweed heavy at the same time. So that's my least favorite at number 6, sadly. We're starting off with my 6th favorite, or my least favorite, but the thing is, the rest of the fragrances are so good, so good, that I kind of want to just forget about that one and move on to the next one. So number 5 is the fragrance I bought used from someone because they were getting rid of their collection last year, just around the time of the pandemic. It's Haze, and this is the one that's actually inspired by cannabis. But you know what? For me, this one not only reminds me of cannabis, but it also kind of reminds me of a boozy liqueurs, like a licorice absinthe kind of liqueurs, which is kind of cool. And one other thing I want to say, 5 and 4 almost are tie. I like them equally. And then I like 2 and 3 equally, almost equally. And then number 1 is my ultra favorite. But if you can guess my number 1, put a comment down before you watch the video. Also, if you've been following me, as I said, I did review one of them. It could be that one. But Haze is an aromatic spicy fragrance featuring notes of absinthe, Armoise or Armoise, Eucalyptus, Spearmint, Clary sage. So they're not using cannabis in the notes, but it does kind of have that kind of camphoric, kind of green, herbal kind of, like very pungent kind of smells of like camphor and all these kind of like notes that you can find in the forest, but also in herb gardens at the same time. So I feel like it's a meshing of these very, very green notes together to create this kind of like weed-like or a cannabis-like smell. I like this one a lot, and definitely it's much better for me than number 6, and I recommend it. And again, as I said, I featured this in a cannabis fragrances video, and even though it reminds me of cannabis, and for me it's more cannabis when I'm wearing it, less out of the bottle when I'm smelling it, because when I'm smelling it out of the bottle, it has more of a boozy touch, like I'm smelling like absinthe or some kind of a licorice liqueur. But overall, it's a great scent, so check it out. That's number 5, Haze, a great scent. Very, very green fragrance. Okay, this next one might shock some of you, maybe not. Some of you might be into these kind of notes. At number 4 is Night. So Night I featured in a Cumin fragrances video. Definitely lots of cumin in this one. This one also reminds me of fragrances like L'Autre from the House of Diptyque, Eau de Hermès, anything with a heavy dosage of cumin. This is definitely the kind of fragrance it is. This is considered a woody spicy, and it features notes of Bulgarian rose, cumin, saffron, and agarwood. So for me, when you wear it, it's lots of cumin. So it's very, very musky, slightly animalic leaning. And this one is inspired by sex, and I can see why they would add cumin, because cumin is typically associated with body odor. And when somebody's, doing the thing. Makes sense to add these kind of notes to kind of like interpret the act of having sex kind of a thing. So it makes sense. It really does. And I really love cumin in fragrances. I think a lot of people do not like it because it is associated with body odor. But there's something really, really beautifully sexy about this. Really lovely. When you're wearing it, the cumin is much stronger when you first start wearing it, is what I should say. But the rose blooms on me a lot, and I really like it a lot. The oud is there. It's more of a woody oud rather than an oud, but there are some light animalic touches, and of course musky touches with this one as well. So this one, as I said, the addiction is sex for this one. All fragrances here from Akro all are inspired by addictions, and I think they've captured the sex addiction here at number 4 for Night perfectly. So that is Night from Akro at number 4. Now, as I said, 4 and 5 are very closely tied. I could reverse them because they're so good on their own, on that kind of level of likes and unlikes, whereas Malt is my least favorite. It's miles down. It didn't work for me at all. But these two are perfect together. Next at number 3, and this number 3 and number 2 are also very tied. It's Dark. And Dark and the next at number 2 I bought at Javoy in Paris and brought them back. Dark was featured in my video yesterday of 20 romantic rose and chocolate fragrances video. If you haven't caught that, please go catch that. Dark is an oriental spicy fragrance and has notes of cocoa, dark chocolate, cinnamon, hazelnut, and vanilla. And just like as I mentioned yesterday in my video, you're not just getting the chocolate part of this fragrance, there's the nuttiness from the hazelnuts. And it's funny, hazelnuts is so popular in Europe, but not a lot here. Whenever we see like a candy come up or chocolates come up with nuts, you rarely see hazelnuts here. And being from the Middle East, I grew up with chocolate and hazelnuts. I absolutely love it. Was a big fan of Nutella. So this one kind of does remind me a little bit of Nutella, not a lot, because Nutella is usually chocolate and the hazelnuts with like a milky chocolate, but it hints at it a little bit because of the hazelnuts, not so much from the chocolate part itself. But it's a very, very delicious gourmand. It's an oriental spicy, and I highly recommend it. So it's sweet, nutty, gourmand, spicy at the same time because it has cinnamon, but a beautiful, beautiful fragrance and perfect Valentine's Day fragrance, as I mentioned yesterday in my video. So that is Dark from Akro at number 3. And then at number 2, it's the other fragrance I bought at Javoy in Paris. This is Awake. So Awake is considered a spicy gourmand, and it's inspired by the addiction to coffee. And I forgot to mention the addiction here. It's just the addiction to chocolate or dark chocolate. But this one is a coffee addiction, and this is just me right here. I'm addicted to coffee. Like recently, I got so sick off of drinking so much coffee that I had to like really back off. Literally like back off. I would have 3 shots in the morning, 2 shots in the afternoon, but now I'm down to 2 in the morning, and then that's it, no more. But Awake smells like coffee, and actually it's a little better than dark for me, just a little. And I love it. It's just, the combination of the notes in here are just absolutely perfect. So it says that there's Balkans Santos coffee, so I should say, green cardamom, Italian lemon, Haitian vetiver, and it's this combination of cardamom with coffee that's very, very intoxicating. I actually used to have this kind of combo. In the Middle East, it's a tradition to have cardamom with coffee. It's ground with some pods of cardamom. So that smell is really, really intoxicating, and it's really, really beautifully captured here. Wonderfully. And it's a great coffee fragrance. If you're looking for your favorite coffee fragrance, I think this is a great one for you to try. So it's an aromatic but warm and spicy and very, very earthy kind of a gourmand. I don't know if I would go to the extent of calling it a gourmand, because gourmand, this one doesn't have vanillic notes in it. And for me, gourmands fall under the oriental category. This one, I guess it's sort of kind of in there. Not much vanilla, if any. There are some sweet touches, so I would put it in that category. But it's more of a kind of a woody, aromatic, spicy, woody, gourmand kind of a combo. But great, great scent. This is Awake from Akro. And my number 1, can you guess? It's Smoke. So Smoke was a love it. I don't know. I didn't buy this one when I first bought the 2 fragrances at Javoy. I bought Dark and Awake at Javoy. And then 4 months later, I bought this from Lucky Scent when I was visiting LA. And it was something about this one that I tested it out. I went outside. It was a hot and kind of a humid day. And the thing just bloomed to just smelling so great. It started reminding me a little bit of Tobacco Vanille. A little bit, not too much. And so I was like, wow, this is so good. It's a beautiful oriental woody, oriental spicy fragrance, but it has smoke. So if you like the idea of Tobacco Vanille, but you also want like smokiness, because it does have that smoky smell in there. So it's like the smoky, ashy tobacco, but sweet touches as well. This one has Balkans tobacco leaves, nicotine, cade, benzoin, tonka beans. Great scent, guys. It's really, really great. The smokiness kind of fades away the more you wear it, but you're left with a beautiful sweet and spicy kind of a tobacco fragrance that's really, really wonderful. And again, for me, it comes alive in the heat when it's hot outside. Just smells fantastic. So at number 1, it's Smoke. It's my favorite. I absolutely love it because, you know, I think the reason I like this one is because of the benzoin, the benzoin note. I just love this really, really beautiful vanillic resin. One of my favorite notes. It's a nice contrast with some more you know, like woody notes and of course tobacco and things like that. So tonka beans as well. So it's absolutely great. So check it out. It's Smoke at number 1. And one thing I want to mention about these fragrances also that I didn't mention at the beginning of the video, I think they have pretty good longevity, but these are not your ultra thick and heavy, dense fragrances. Personally, I think the one that acts like that the most is Malt, my least favorite. I just think maybe because I'm just so sensitive to that seaweed note, the marine thing. That's why it was really wearing heavy on me. And the smell was on me for a long time when I was testing it out a few times. So it ended up there. But everything else just is a great, classy rendition of those addictions, you know? I just absolutely love all of them. Of course, Smoke being my favorite, followed by Awake and Dark. And then we've got Night and Haze. Anyway, moving on to the giveaway. I have 2 giveaways for 2 discovery kits of Akro fragrances. These were sent to me, as I said at the beginning of the video, and also Malt was sent to me. The rest I have purchased myself. So also one more thing before I ask you how to participate in the giveaway. Don't forget to go to the website, as I have a link in the info box. If you want to buy one of these, you can save $5. I think it only goes for 2 more days up until the 9th. And it's $5 off of the discovery kit of all Akro fragrances. It's Perfume Guy 5. Okay, to participate in the giveaway, please put a comment down to let me know what you liked about this review. Please also put down which fragrance or fragrances sounds best to you. I'd like to find out. Finally, please put down your state. This is a USA giveaway. As I said, I'm shipping these, so I can't ship to Europe or anywhere else. The cost is way too expensive and things get lost and it's just too much time to research and things like that. But if you have anyone that can accept your package here in the States, by all means participate. Anyway guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. Let me know what your thoughts are on this house. Put some comments down so I can find out. Let me know what your favorite fragrance is. Other than that, I appreciate you tuning in. Please like this video, please share it, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.